I remember dying when I was 31. But first, let me tell you what led up to that fateful night. When I was just a little girl, I had a really tough life. My family was mean and didn't take care of me properly. But there was this guy named Todd who lived next door. He was 21 years old and became my best friend. Todd was like my superhero. Whenever I needed someone to talk to or some food to eat, he was always there for me. I would call him on the phone late at night, and he would come running to help me. He was the nicest person I've ever known. But then, something happened and we both had to move away. We lost touch with each other. I was only 15 years old and I wondered what had happened to my best friend. We had this crazy connection where we could understand each other's thoughts. It sounds unbelievable, but it's true. If I was thirsty, Todd would just know and bring me water without me even saying a word. Our bond was so strong I can't even explain it. Now let's fast forward to 2016. One day I woke up and heard a voice in my head telling me to go to a particular grocery store. It was like telepathy. At first I thought it was silly, but it felt important deep down. So I decided to listen to that voice and went to the store, thinking I just needed to buy some groceries. I remember going to the grocery store really late at night, like after 11 p.m. I usually don't shop that late, but something inside me told me it was the right thing to do, even though I can't explain why. So I grabbed a couple of loaves of bread and put them in my cart. Then I went to the hummus section, which was near the bakery. There was a man standing there looking at hummus. I couldn't see his face, but I instantly knew it was Todd. I called out his name, even though it was like a psychic feeling. Todd turned around as soon as he heard me and looked around until he saw me. I was so surprised. I left my cart and purse behind and ran towards him. But when I hugged him, he didn't hug me back because he didn't recognize me. I let go and tried to stop crying so much. I told him, "Todd, it's me, it's Erin, your sweet girl." He was shocked and said, "Oh my God, Erin, it's really you." We both cried a lot. He kept kissing my face and looking at me. I kept crying and told him how much I missed him. I asked him where he had been all this time. He held me tight and said, "Sweet girl, it wasn't my choice. I sent you so many letters. Did you get them?" I replied, "No, I never got any letters. I thought you were dead." We cried even more and I held on to him as if my life depended on it. He reassured me, saying, "No, I sent you so many letters and I tried to find you. I would never leave you all alone." I told him, "I never thought you would." He took me back to the hotel where he was staying, and I got to meet his 2 lovely daughters and see his beautiful wife again. We used to know each other, but then we had to stop talking. It was really special to see them all. I don't think it was just a coincidence that we met. I never go grocery shopping at night, so it was like fate brought us together. A day later, I had to say goodbye to my best friend Todd. He promised that we would see each other again soon. We both cried, and I believed him. Right before he let go of me, he promised to call me on my cell phone in 2 weeks. I gave him a goodbye kiss. Todd lived in a different state and had to go back home. 2 weeks later, when Todd didn't call me, I knew something was wrong. I decided to call his home phone number late at night. I waited for the phone to ring and for Todd to answer, but it wasn't Todd who picked up the phone. "Hello?" a woman's voice said. I didn't recognize her voice. I was like, "Hey, is Todd home?" I said sorry for calling so late. Then this older lady was like, "Who's this?" And I was like, "It's Erin." She said my name out loud and I heard Todd's wife in the background. She took the phone and I said, "Hello, is Todd home? He was supposed to call me by now." She sounded sad and then she dropped a bomb on me. Todd had passed away. I couldn't believe it. I started crying and blaming myself. I hung up the phone because I couldn't handle the pain. I was like, "What? My best friend is dead? No way." I couldn't accept that he was gone. I fell to the floor and started screaming and crying like crazy. Then my phone rang. It was Todd's wife. She told me that Todd loved me and didn't want me to blame myself. We both cried and then I hung up. I tried to convince myself that it wasn't true. I deleted Todd's number from my phone because I couldn't bear to see it. But deep down, I knew I was lying to myself. After a while, reality hit me hard. It felt like a ton of bricks hitting my chest. The pain was unbearable. I cried and rocked back and forth in my room. I couldn't believe he was gone. We had just found each other again. It was so unfair. I lost control and couldn't breathe or think. I felt angry and helpless inside. I yelled as loud as I could for like 20 minutes until it felt like my heart was going to stop, and then it did stop. I felt this really sharp pain going down my left arm. At the same time, my heart and chest were hurting a lot, like something heavy was crushing them. I was all sweaty, freaking out, and couldn't catch my breath. It was like having an asthma attack because I couldn't breathe properly. The pain was so bad that I didn't even bother trying to breathe. I loved my best friend Todd so much that I couldn't even think about living without him. I let my body go limp and let the pain take over. I just let go. But then something strange happened. I found myself standing outside of my own body. It was shocking to see that I was still alive, but my body was lifeless. It was really scary. I looked down at my dead body and saw that my eyes were open, but they looked kind of strange. My body didn't move at all. I didn't understand what was going on. That's when I realized that I was actually dead. I didn't feel anything except a strong desire to stay dead. I thought to myself, I don't want to be alive. I don't want to be here. I cried out to the people around me. There were about 30 of them in the room. They seemed like loving angels, but they looked like really tall humans to me. They were so beautiful. It felt like I knew them from before I was born, but I had forgotten about them. I looked back at my lifeless body and didn't want to go back into it. When I died, I felt my soul enter a place of unconditional love that never ends. It felt like I had lived before I was born, like I would live again, and that I had always existed. I made eye contact with a tall man who looked at me. I told him, I don't want to go back in there. We were both crying as he said, we love you so much. It's not your time to die yet. You have to go back. We're really sorry. Then I felt like I was moving really fast and it made me feel sick. I thought I might throw up, but I didn't. I heard loud sounds that were like Pop Rocks candy and felt really strong vibrations. I opened my eyes and suddenly I was back in my own body. Oh no, I shouted. I needed my best friend again. I needed that love that made me feel so good just a moment ago. I couldn't go on anymore. I've always struggled with feeling sad, but this was the worst pain I've ever felt. All the sadness came back to me along with my body. I just wanted to feel that never-ending love again. But now all the pain was back. I cried out in pain, and then I felt sharp chest pains again. Since I had just been through this, I knew I was having a heart attack again, and I was okay with it. I don't care, I thought to myself. I miss you, Todd. I want to be with you. As I watched my body die again, I said, Todd, I love you more. But I was mad at him for leaving me. He told me, no, sweet girl, I love you. I will always love you. I have loved you forever, but it's not your time to go yet. I couldn't see him, but his words echoed in my soul. I fell asleep and slept on and off for more than 4 days on my bedroom floor. I mourned Todd for days. I remember Todd telling me in a way I could feel and hear in my soul, tell our story, it's important. And I promised that one day, I would. Even now, I cry for my best friend Todd, but I also believe that we will be together someday, just like he promised. I feel like we humans are born on Earth for a special reason, but I still don't know what that is. I feel like we existed before we were born, and we will exist after we die. I'm telling my story because I want you to know that even if you've lost someone you love, they're still out there somewhere and they're doing okay. I want you to understand that even if you feel really alone, you're not completely alone. I promise you there are others who have loved you even before you were born, and they still love you now, and they'll keep loving you even after you pass away, just like Todd loved me. I'm sharing my story because I want you to know that if you're going through the pain of losing someone you love, they're still around and you'll be together again someday. Love is forever and it never goes away. Your lost loved one isn't really lost and they're doing okay and they still love you. We all existed even before we were born into these human bodies, and we'll keep existing forever even after our human bodies are gone. This story was shared by Aaron Kay and happened in 2016.